Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show podcast, coming from right here in our quaint little studio. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea. I'm joined in studio today by Ray Ora.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Jonathan Voico.
Good morning.
Chris
Good
Carr.
Good evening. Hi.
And most importantly, you guys are here. Thank you so much for being here, making our little show part of your day. And here's how this little show is going to go. We're going to start off by talking about some predetermined topics. Then in the second part of the show, we're going to take your live comments and questions. If you've got a thought, theory, opinion, question, observation, go ahead and send it on in using our tip link at www.streamelements.com/JohnCampea/tip. And as long as your question is appropriate for us to address on the show, we'll address it in the second part of the show. By the way, if you're watching the show when we're not streaming live, like a little bit later in the day, like 90% of the people do, good news, this tip link is good 24 hours a day. So you can send in a question anytime you like, even at 3 in the morning, and we'll just get around to answering it on the next episode. Also, want to remind you guys, I put this up in the community tab on the YouTube channel, but the newest edition of our John Campea Show newsletter has now gone out. Mondays and Tuesdays, the newsletter is free for everybody who subscribes to it. We, of course, give some thoughts. We give you, links to all the topics that we covered on the last episode. But I also go through like hundreds of stories every day trying to find out what we're going to talk about on the John Campea Show. But we can only talk about 4 or 5 of them. I always put together every day lists of other big stories in the entertainment and movie world that I think you guys should know about. I give you links to them. I summarize them, all that kind of stuff. I put that in there every day. So go ahead and check out the newsletter today and subscribe to it if you'd like. All right. With that down, guys, let's get things started here today on a bit more of a somber note. As all of you, I'm sure, have heard by now, the legendary, iconic, and it's maybe sometimes those words are a little overused, sometimes maybe, but the legendary, iconic James Earl Jones has passed away at the age of 93. The Oscar-nominated, EGOT-winning, Emmy-winning, Tony-winning, Grammy-winning, first guy ever, by the way, at the Emmys, I believe, to win an Emmy for 2 different roles in the same year. I think he did that a bunch of years ago. And of course, as most people will always think of him, Tulsa Doom and Conan the Barbarian. I'm not going to lie. That's when I think of James Earl Jones.
That's the first thing that comes to mind.
That is because I see his face, right?
Okay.
That's the first thing that pops into my mind is Tulsa Doom in Conan the Barbarian. But of course, he will always be best known as Darth Vader, the voice of Darth Vader, who he was paid $7,000 for in the original Star Wars movie to do a voice. And by the way, didn't want his name put in the credits of the first Star Wars and the second Star Wars, New Hope and Empire Strikes Back, in deference to David Prowse, the actual actor in the suit. But then he came around for Return of the Jedi and had his name put in the credits there. This guy has so much more than Darth Vader. Even just in my life, like he's had a career for longer than I've been alive, but even in my entertainment watching years, right? You're talking about Field of Dreams,
Yep.
The Sandlot, come by and talk baseball. You're talking about the spy novels, the Tom
Hunt
Clancy.
for Red October.
Well, but what were the 3 he was in? It was what's the name of the Tom Clancy novels? John Krasinski just starred in a TV series about it.
No,
What's
I
that?
don't know.
it's the character,
Clear and Present Danger is one of them.
but it's his character's Jack.
the Jack Ryan
Ryan,
movies, right?
there
He
we go.
starred
Ryan.
as the Vice Admiral in like 3 of the Jack Ryan movies.
Yeah.
And
Games.
just yesterday, we were talking about sneakers. He pops up in sneakers. And then he would pop up in tons of TV shows. I mean, he was a prolific force.
Coming to America.
Coming to
America. You know what?
Yes, that's
Coming
the
to
one.
America 2 was his final film, I think.
Coming
Oh,
to America
wow.
was my first introduction to him.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
and
that's
then I
cool.
went back and I saw Conan. I was like, that can't be the same guy. And then
yeah.
it was.
And how about that hairdo?
Yeah, I know.
How about that hair he had in Conan,
So
huh?
good.
Oh my God, Rick James, eat your heart out. His hair in that was legendary.
And then Field of Dreams.
I mean,
That's,
yeah.
that's the one where they're
Yeah.
walking into the field. That's what I'm thinking of right now as
And then, of course, Darth Vader wasn't his only iconic voice. Mufasa. Mufasa. I mean, this guy, he did it all. And he did it with excellence, and he did it with humility, and he did it with a dignity, and always above reproach. When's the last time you heard about a big James Earl Jones scandal? Yeah, me neither. He was just the greatest. And, you know, it's funny because I feel a little bit differently than I did. Like when we found out Carrie Fisher passed away, I got very emotional. Because again, you know, our brains often doesn't know the difference between people we've spent time with in front of our faces and people we spent time with on a screen. But I spent so many years of my life with Carrie Fisher, and when Robin Williams passed away, I didn't feel that same way when I found out James Earl Jones passed away, because James Earl Jones passed away at the age of 93. Yeah. I mean, he wins. He won life. And lived well. And, you know, he passing away at the age of 93, such a tremendous loss for us. We'll never get to hear him, you know, I mean, look, and is there any doubt the single greatest voice in the history of Hollywood? I mean, is there any doubt about that at this point?
Yeah, he's great.
I mean, it's just, so when I heard he passed away, I instantly was kind of shocked and stunned. And then I just kind of smiled, just thinking about everything he's given us. So many different types of roles, so many different kinds of entertainment, and just all the gifts he gave to us with his career, and definitely will be missed. Chris, let me ask you, when you think of James Earl Jones, let's take Vader out of it for a second, 'cause that's the big one. When you think James Earl Jones, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Oh, Mufasa. Simba, everything the light touches. One day. Like, it's so good. It's so good. He's incredible. And then also Coming to America is my other one too, Ray. His voice is so iconic, and everyone should remember too that back in, I believe it was 2022, he sold the rights to his voice so that he can always be the voice of Vader.
Yep.
So that's going to be really interesting to see how that is moving forward, because his voice is so iconic and so intrinsically tied to that role. But man, just him and Disney. Like, I grew up watching The Lion King on repeat, and that's what I'll always really think of him as.
You know, okay, I wanted to save this one for last, because there's one other one. That, yeah, when I think of him, the first thing that'll go is to him as Thulsa Doom in Conan the Barbarian. But he was also the coach in the greatest guys movie of all time, Best of the Best.
Oh, yeah, he was.
Where he uttered the famous line that I've often repeated to many people who've worked for me over the years. Don't be late. Don't ever be late. One of the greatest lines, just the way James Earl Jones could say it. I mean, it's, again, I do smile and celebrate what he gave us. The sadness that hits me is the sadness knowing that we'll never get anything new from him again. And that sucks and it's sad. But again, James Earl Jones passing away at the 93. What a legacy. What a career. What a life. He was a trendsetter. He was a trailblazer. He forged paths that other actors over the decades have been able to follow. And I think all of us today don't even understand the full weight of how important he was. And I think we will in the coming days and weeks. Anyway, guys, question is for you. Obviously Vader, but what do you think of first, other than maybe Star Wars, when you think of James Earl Jones? Because obviously the iconic voice of Vader forever. But what else do you think about? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. That down, let's move on to this, shall we? There are a couple of movies opening this weekend that I am actually very interested in seeing. One is the Dave Bautista, Palm Clemente movie, The Killer's Game, which we first got our first preview for it back at CinemaCon in April. I thought, look, it's not going to win any Oscars, but it looks really fun. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. But the other one that they also previewed for us at CinemaCon was the new James McAvoy, Mackenzie Davis film, Speak No Evil. That looked freaky as hell.
I hate everything about it. So you know it's good.
And if you thought McAvoy looked ripped in Split, forget it. There was a new promo piece that just came out where he's like out at his cabin or whatever, is chopping wood. It's like, dear heavens, it's the Calvarine. Practically, like he's gotten himself like super buff and ripped. It's crazy. But anyway, I've been very, very curious about these films. A little bit of a red flag. Both of these movies come out in 2 days. Killer's Game has still not allowed any reviews to come out, nor any reactions. I'm a little bit nervous about that, but the first batch of reviews have now come out for Speak No Evil. And while they are not perfect, they're pretty damn solid. We go over to the Rotten Tomatoes there. Daily Dead said, Watkins honors the awfulness, unpredictability, and predatory undertones that put Speak No Evil on the map by making a movie that's complementary, not combative, to the original, because this is a remake. Now, the Daily Beast didn't like it. They wrote, there's no mystery to Speak No Evil, and even less disquieting creepiness. Instead, it's a bludgeoning beast. Epitomized by McAvoy's Patty. Discussing Film liked it. They wrote, the critical changes to the original Danish film aren't a deterrent to this Hollywood remake. Quite the contrary. 2024 Speak No Evil is a refreshing and bold retelling that is more than a worthy companion to the original film. Slash Film also liked it. But for anyone who knows how the original film ends, there are still plenty of surprises in store. Eric Goldman wrote, some will find it infuriating how long this couple endures, that something is clearly wrong with their host couple. But the movie has a playful, winking tone that lets you know that it's in on the joke. James McAvoy is great and seems to be having a blast. The Silver Screen did not like it. They wrote, if the original film is inspired by the works of Michael Haneke and Lars von Trier, Watkins' version is a standard issue Blumhouse effort, which is a shame because the performances across the board are quite good. NME liked it, saying, an off-the-leash James McAvoy is a joy to behold, channeling the same twisted energy he mined for his addict cop in Irvine Welsh adaptation Filth. By the way, that's a fun little film.
Yeah.
I like that one.
That's funny because that's where my mind went with
when you first saw the preview of this.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of them all liked it too. Hey, you guys wrote a gripping, unsettling exploration of human behavior. Awards Watch wrote, I can't pretend I didn't find it thrilling. But for all the excitement it offers, it doesn't land with the same blunt impact as the original. So he didn't think it's quite as good as the original, but he still liked it.
I don't know if a lot of people are going to, the audience members will have seen the original.
Oh, no, most of the audience is not going to have seen it, right? Now, that being said, we're not fooling anybody. Not a lot of people are going to go see Speak No Evil.
No.
This isn't going to have a $45 million opening weekend. I mean, it would be great if it did, because it sounds like it's pretty solid. But it's probably not going to, it's not a mass appeal kind of movie. Fine. That aside, these are the types of reviews that I was expecting to hear. I think this, right from the first previews we saw in Vegas, I think this looks great. James McAvoy, I think, is one of these actors who just continuously gets better. Unfortunately, most actors today, you know what you're getting with them. But McAvoy never stops evolving. I feel like every project I watch him in, he gets better and better and better. And it's kind of scary considering he's still relatively young. It's kind of scary to think how good he can actually be. I love Mackenzie Davis. I don't know why she's not in more stuff. I adore her. So I'm glad to see her in this. So this is something I'm really looking forward to going to go see. Anyway, Chris, not a Chris Carr stereotypical kind of movie.
No, this is one that I would wait to watch at home so that when I scream and like cover my eyes, I don't bother everyone in the theater because I'm courteous.
That's very
I'm a
nice of you.
lady. But that being said, the trailers look killer for this. And to your point too, James McAvoy is one of those actors where watching him, there's always this little element of danger in what he's doing. There's something so unexpected and mischievous and interesting. And that's even when he is playing somebody who is typically likable. There is this little kind of twinkle in his eye every now and then of like, I'm about to do something crazy. And I love that about him. I love his work. His stage work is absolutely incredible as well. So this is one that I am intrigued by, but oh, it's going to be so unsettling. It's going to be so uncomfortable.
Just the trailers to me are uncomfortable.
And to that one critic's point too, watching the trailer, you're just like, why would you stay? Why would you stay with these people? Get the fuck out.
Because Ann and I, we love making couple friends because I moved in from Canada. She was established here. Most of our friends are either friends I bring in or friends she brings in. We don't have a lot of friends that we've made together so to say. So when we do get the opportunity, we love making friends with other couples and stuff like that. But every once in a while I think, man, they seem creepy. And the moment the flags go off, we're out of there. But so this, I think, is going to be particularly unsettling. I think this is going to be particularly unsettling. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Have you been looking forward to Speak No Evil? What do you think about James McAvoy? Everybody's saying that the performance is really good. Most of the critics seem to say it's really solid. A couple of them didn't like it. Are you going to go out and see it? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. That down. Let's move on to this, shall we? You know, Elizabeth Olsen recently, she played Wanda, Scarlet Witch, in Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness, where they completed what I think is like maybe the best character arc, right up there with Tony Stark's character arc for the best character arc in the MCU, where from the very moment we first were introduced to her with her brother, to her evolution as a character, then in WandaVision, WandaVision, easily the best thing Disney Plus has ever made, like by miles. And the way it ends is like, oh, she's going bad. And then the fulfillment of that in Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness, where she breaks bad. And she shows just how powerful she is. And of course, she dies at the end. Now, she came out shortly after that, and a little while ago, talking about how, when she was asked if she's going to come back and play Wanda again, she goes, I've been basically doing nothing but Marvel for 10 years. I don't want to be a one character person. It's time for me to move on and do other characters and do other work and do other things. And it really never sounded like she was all that keen. Like, she sounded like she loved her time in the MCU, but that time was now done. Well, now in a new interview, she sounds a lot more open to coming back and playing the character again. This comes to us from Deadline, who wrote this. Elizabeth Olsen played Wanda Maximoff, also known as the Scarlet Witch, across the Marvel Universe, and is seemingly down to continue reprising the role. In a recent interview, the WandaVision star opened up about playing the Marvel character and what it would take for her to portray her again. It's a character, she said, that I love going back to when there's a way to use her well. And I think I've been pretty lucky. When I started, I was used well, Olsen said in an interview. I think people didn't know what to do with me for a second there. If there's a good way to use her, I am always happy to come back. Yeah. So, now that's a little bit of a change of tone, right? For her. And it reminds me a little bit of the change of tone we started hearing from Robert Downey Jr. Because remember, he did that, who's the shock jock? Most famous radio DJ shock jock.
Is that
Howard
Stern? Yeah. He did the Stern interview and he did a bunch of interviews. It was like, basically, it's like, no, I'm done. I played in the MCU for so long. But then in the last 8 to 10 months, in interviews Robert Downey Jr. was doing, all of a sudden his tone started to change. Like, oh, well, I'm forever going to be connected to that. And oh yeah. And then just a few months ago was, I would love to go back. And then of course the announcement came that he was coming back, only this time he's going to be playing Doctor Doom. This reminds me a little bit of that progression. And it's like, because listen, I've always been of the mind that Marvel made it clear Wanda's dead, right? Even in the supplemental books, they wrote died, the character, when they did the character references, character first appeared, last appeared, died, boom, gone, right? And I thought she was done. But I'm not so sure she's done now. Here's the problem, though. This is the problem with a Scarlet Witch character. If you want to bring her back to the MCU, you've made her too powerful. What do you do with her now? Like, you literally had her taking on and taking out the Illuminati, all the wizards of the world, all the sorcerers. Like, there was literally nothing that could stop her until she stopped herself. What do you do with a character like that if you bring her back? Because Marvel became guilty of starting to spiral out of control with how powerful they started making their characters, right? Like, it started off with Hulk. Hulk was the ultimate nuclear option until they depowered him a bit. Then all of a sudden, Thor is the most unstoppable force in the galaxy. Captain Marvel is the most unstoppable force in the galaxy. Now Wanda, like, and they started making them more and more powerful. So while I think it's sounding more and more likely like I'm going to have to change my mind. Like maybe it is sounding like she's going to come back. It does create a problem of what do you do with her? Do you say her experiences in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness and being separated from the Darkhold and all that kind of stuff significantly depower her, and now she's back to a regular powered superhero? I don't know. Chris, you heard these comments from her. Do you think she's going to come back? And if she comes back, does that pose a problem for them? What do you think?
I think as long as the writing for the character is strong, she absolutely will. You have to remember too, Elizabeth Olsen is an actor's actor, right? She studied at Tisch. She studied at the Moscow Art Theater School. She is a really, really big focus on your craft kind of actor. And she's been getting to do that finally. She did Love and Death. She's in His Three Daughters right now that's making their rounds at TIFF and everything. She's gotten to do a lot more of the kind of acting that I think she really aspired to do her whole life. And Wanda, let's not say that that's not a great character too. She was given one of the most juicy characters we've seen come out of Marvel as well.
Absolutely.
And so I completely understand her purview on, I don't want to be known for just one thing. I want to do other stuff, see other things. I think she'd absolutely come back if there's a good reason for it. And as far as her being OP'd and everything, just being overpowered, I think either you have, nice mom Wanda be the one who comes into our universe, or if it's this one who broke bad, I'm very convinced that we are going to get some weird semblance of one of her children in Agatha. I think that we're going to get Orlok somehow, some way, in some kind of comic booky Marvel way. And you have, in the comics, it's usually her own mental state that kind of hinders her, right? What if we now have instead just vying for the affection of her own children of, I need to be a more calibrated, less bombastic person. I need to make sure my children do not fear me, let alone the rest of the world.
Which is funny because this version of her never had children.
Yes. No, that's what I'm saying, though, is she desperately wanted them. But
Yes.
if we bring one of them into the fold and it's, no, you're terrifying, you're a horrible person who never should have been a mother. Ooh, that makes a really interesting, complex story.
Do you think she could play into the Vision series?
Potentially. I think at the very least you do some kind of memory moment with her, right? Especially if White Vision is getting a whole bunch of our previous Visions viewpoints and everything like that. Wanda's so intrinsically tied to his story and who he was and how he became this sentient, realized person. So it makes sense to at least throw back to her.
All right, guys. Question is for you. What do you think about these comments made by Elizabeth Olsen? I mean, listen, maybe it's just, hey, just say nice things. Of course, the standard, a lot of actors say, oh yeah, I'd always go back if there was the right thing. And oftentimes they don't, but a lot of people believe she'll be back as Scarlet Witch. Do you think she will? Do you think there's even a place for Scarlet Witch now in the MCU? Would they have to massively depower her? I don't know. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, listen, we still got to talk about a new report out there saying that Sony has scrapped almost everything about Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse, and now the earliest that we're going to get it is 2027. But somebody connected with the movie is refuting that report. Also, speaking of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it looks like Spider-Man 4 now has a director, and I'm pissed off about it. We'll talk about why in a second, but before we do, we're going to take a moment to thank a couple of sponsors of today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast, our friends at Manscaped and Mando. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, Manscaped. Today, I am thrilled to unveil the latest masterpiece from Manscaped, the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra in forged gold. Welcome to the golden era of grooming where precision, luxury, and performance meet. In a world where grooming tools come and go, Manscaped is setting the gold standard with this special edition trimmer. If you want to make your grooming routine a statement of sophistication and style, this is the tool that you need. Just a quick PSA though, there are limited quantities available in this color, so you gotta act fast if you want this. Listen, guys, I know that there are still a lot of you who are trying to do personal grooming the old archaic way like I used to do, using the stupid trimmer on your electric razor or some other archaic tools. Look, if you're gonna do it that way, just rename yourself the Butcher of Balltown. It is time to step into the golden era with the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra Gold. You too can experience unparalleled precision with the next-gen dual skin-safe blade heads, one trimmer blade, and one foil blade designed for flawless performance. It's time to join the 10 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped for all their grooming needs and get the special edition Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra in forged gold while supplies last. So get 20% off plus free shipping with the code CAMPEA at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code CAMPEA at manscaped.com. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of this video, Mando. Guys, I've got to tell you about something that changed my whole body care game. Mando Whole Body Deodorant. Now, I first heard about Mando last year when they offered to become a sponsor of the show, and I was honestly skeptical. I mean, a deodorant can't really control odor for 72 hours, can it? But after using it myself, I am a believer. You can use it anywhere on your body, and I mean anywhere. It's clinically proven to keep you smelling fresh for up to 72 hours without any irritation. I'm loving the clover wood scent, but they've got options like bourbon leather, Mount Fuji, Pro Sport, and even unscented if you prefer to go stealth mode. I like to use it after the shower, before the gym, or even important meetings. It's that reliable. And right now, Mando's got a killer deal. New customers get $5 off their best-selling starter pack with my exclusive code CAMPEA. That's over 40% off. Just go to shopmando, that's shopmando.com, and use the code CAMPEA. Seriously, guys, if you want a deodorant that's aluminum-free, baking soda-free, and just works better than anything else you've tried, it's time to make the switch to Mando. So don't wait. Control body odor anywhere with Mando. Head over to shopmando.com and use the code CAMPEA and get $5 off your starter pack. Trust me, you're going to love it. That's at shopmando.com. Go and check it out now. And thank you to our friends at Manscaped and Mando for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast. All right, guys, that down. Let's move on to this, shall we? If you've watched my show for any period of time, you know that a couple of my favorite movies the last couple of years, not just animated, I mean overall favorite movies the last couple of years, is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I love these movies. I think they're so great. And what's really funny is, especially with Into the Spider-Verse, that was one of those movies that I thought was going to suck. I didn't like the idea of it. Nobody cares. I didn't like the animation style at first when I saw the trailers. And then I absolutely fell in love with the film, love it. And I thought the second one was every bit as good. And now we're waiting patiently, or not so patiently, for Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse, the third one. Now, in the last 48 hours or so, a report started going around that Sony had basically scrapped all the work that had been done on the movie so far, that they were having massive creative differences, and that the movie would not come out, Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse would not come out until at least 2027. And I started getting all sorts of messages from people, and I'm like, oh no, oh no. Well, that might not be so true. This comes to us from the folks over at Screen Rant who wrote the following. Amid such an explosive report, Spider-Verse music composer Daniel Pemberton took to social media to address the rumors. Pemberton, after having worked on both previous Spider-Verse movies, seemingly debunks the report and claimed that the rumors of Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse continued delay and creative overhaul were simply not true. Pemberton put this on social media. Don't ever really want to weigh in on this sort of stuff, but would you ever believe there could sometimes be stuff on the internet that might not always be particularly accurate? And he says that in response to the actual Spider-Verse being delayed post out there. So, according to the composer of the film, who you would think at this point might already be working on music and scoring for the new film, is coming out and saying, guys, don't listen to it. Now look, we are already past when we were supposed to get the new Spider-Verse movie. All right. I believe originally, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was originally supposed to come out like May of this year.
Yeah.
I think that was his original. Now, of course, the writer strikes and all that kind of stuff threw a lot of films into upheaval. But I don't think the strike would push it for 3 years. And it has been frustrating as us fans of this movie franchise have been getting basically radio silence about the development and progress of the film. And that's why when a report like that comes out, it's very easy to believe because it's like, yeah, it's been delayed. We're hearing no updates. whatever. But again, to have somebody who's actually working on the film come out, and who worked on all the films, to come out and say, guys, listen, just, he's not necessarily saying everything's fine. It's fine. It's fine. But he's saying, look, guys, the report, not true. So at this point, I'm inclined to believe the composer at this point. But again, it would be nice to get some kind of actual update. Where are you on this? They say they've been working on it for a long time. I would love to get some kind of an update, an official one, not the rumored one, not I've heard from somebody who heard it from somebody who heard it from somebody, which is often the information we get. It would be really nice to get an update. So look, I don't need them to come out. I don't need the head of Sony or Lord Miller to come out and put out a thing that says August 18th, 2025. I don't necessarily need that, but hey, just say, hey, look, we're working really hard and we're aiming for second half of 2025, or we're aiming, just something would be pretty nice, because if this was a crappy franchise, I wouldn't care, but I do care. I want this movie so badly. Anyway, Chris, you heard the reports. You've seen what Pemberton is saying here. How do you interpret all this?
I think it's a lot of smoke and no fire, personally. I think there's just delays. And also, Christopher Miller did tweet about an hour ago, nothing has been scrapped. I feel like this is moving along at the speed it has to move along because of these strikes, because of these issues, because of what happened with their animators being worked to the bone last time.
They had a lot of controversy with the last film over that.
They had so much controversy last time. And we've talked about this before ad nauseum. You do not want some of your favorite films that you love so dearly to come at the cost of people's mental health, well-being, and livelihood, where these animators were also being paid so little and working so much. So I feel like the production has been doing a lot of course correcting, and those things are just going to take time. And I think it's really nice to click on something that gives you a reason, or gives you some kind of, spicy little reason why you're not getting your movie right now when you want it. A lot of times in filmmaking, it's not that exciting or sexy. It's just, hey, stuff went wrong. Stuff takes time. And these films are some of the most beautiful pieces of animation we have ever seen.
Yeah, they're
Each
gorgeous.
film continues to break boundaries. So it's going to take a while. And I think it's just more enticing sometimes for folks to do something a little clickbaity. And maybe there is something else there. Yeah, maybe there is something else happening there. I obviously don't know what's going on behind the scenes there. I don't have a contact at Sony, but this does just feel like a lot of smoke and no fire.
And it could be. Now, when did Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse come out? Was it 2022? I can't remember if it was 2022 or 2021 at this point, because it's
23.
23, yeah.
So it came out in 23.
May of 23.
May of 23. So listen, if it does come out, and we don't know, if it does come out in the second half of like 2025 or even the beginning of 2026, it's not that long. It's really not that long. I mean, yes, do I want it now? Give it to me now. I want it now.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, I do. But at this point, we'll get it when we'll get it. Guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Do you think there might be more behind the scenes drama? Is this just a thing of, listen, we got to make sure all of our ducks in the row properly. We got delayed because of the writer's strike. It takes time to make an animated film like this. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? One of the movies that has not been talked about on any official stage, either at Comic-Con or D23 or anything like that, has been the fourth installment of the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies, or as we're calling it now, Spider-Man 4, not to be confused with the Spider-Man 4 that never happened with Sam Raimi. When we say Spider-Man 4, we're talking about the Tom Holland Spider-Man 4. Now, all we know is that John Watts wouldn't be working on it, the guy who brilliantly directed the first three Tom Holland Spider-Man movies. He's off doing other things now. He's got that movie Wolves coming out with George Clooney and Brad Pitt that I'm actually very excited about. He's also got that Star Wars show coming out that I think looks awesome. Skeleton Crew.
Skeleton Crew looks so fun.
That looks so fun.
Star Wars Goonies, come on.
I need this to be good. Anyway, so he's busy doing other things. So we knew we needed a new director coming. And there's good news, bad news. The good news is, according to the Hollywood Reporter, Spider-Man 4 is locking up Destin Daniel Cretton, the director of Shang-Chi, probably the best film they've made post Endgame, to direct Spider-Man 4. Now, they had tapped him before to direct the next Avengers movie when it was called Kang Dynasty. But with all the delays and the turmoil and then deciding to move away from the Kang storyline, Daniel's like, okay, well, this isn't the movie that I was thinking we were going to make, so I'm going to move off. But obviously, Marvel still had plans for him. And it looks like, according to the Hollywood Reporter, that he's going to be making Shang-Chi. This is what they said. They said, Destin Daniel Cretton is doing whatever a spider can. The filmmaker behind Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings is in talks to sign on to direct Spider-Man 4. The move brings an end to the speculation of who would spin the web for one of the biggest franchises in Hollywood. Cretton will bring fresh blood to this iteration of Spider-Man, which stars Tom Holland and is a co-production between two separate studios, Sony and Disney-owned Marvel Studios. And it will make him the fourth director to take on at least a live-action Spidey solo feature. John Watts directed the previous 3 Holland-starring movies, while Mark Webb helmed the 2 Amazing Spider-Man movies that starred Andrew Garfield, and Sam Raimi directed the trilogy that featured Tobey Maguire. If you are a Spider-Man fan, a fan of this particular iteration of Spider-Man, and you already know that you're not getting John Watts back, this is a good day. This is a good day. You bringing on the director that Marvel wanted to do an Avengers film, who made, I think, the best film they've had since Endgame, and you got him coming on to do this. This is a good day. But I said at the beginning that there's good news and bad news. The bad news is, where the living F is my Shang-Chi 2?
Yep.
It's with Blade.
It's with Blade.
No.
Welcome to the club. Welcome to the club.
Welcome to the club, says
I don't
Ray.
want admittance.
He's supposed to be doing Shang-Chi 2. We've been waiting. Simu Liu came out recently and said, I'm coming sooner than you think. Really? I don't know about that, because I don't think they're about to rush out a Shang-Chi 2 before he starts working on Spider-Man 4. I think you got to listen, I said this before. I still believe it. I think you got to have a Spider-Man 4 before Secret Wars happens. And they've been working on this. I mean, Tom Holland came out and said, we had our first creative meeting. We did cover that story, 6 months ago, a year ago?
Yep. It was
Ages ago. So they've been working on this. Hell, there's a possibility they may announce this thing going into production in 5 weeks and they actually get it out before Doomsday. I wouldn't put money on that, but you never know. It could be possible. Where the hell's Shang-Chi 2? Because I'm not going to lie to you. Listen, I love the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies. I do. I love them. I think they're great. But if Kevin Feige were to call me and say, John, what do you want more right now, Shang-Chi 2 or Spider-Man 4? I'm going to see Shang-Chi 2. And so I'm very disappointed. Because number one, I don't think he's going to give up Shang-Chi. So that's going to mean we're not going to get Shang-Chi 2 for frickin' ever. Now, a friend of mine mentioned to me that I was talking to last night about this. Said, John, you just had a Deadpool movie with Wolverine. Could we see Shang-Chi? Just like in the first Tom Holland Spider-Man movie, there was also Iron Man. Could this definitively be a Spider-Man movie, but with special guest star appearing through it? Could it be a Shang-Chi Spider-Man movie? And I went, that's not the weirdest combination. Other than the rings, I mean, Shang-Chi is kind of a street level guy. Of course, the rings give him incredible power, but I mean, there's that. So I don't know. Maybe we could get a Spider-Man Shang-Chi crossover.
It wouldn't be that wild. There's runs in the comics
yeah.
where they're together and they team up. And as a matter of fact, it was like Shang-Chi was like, I know you have your spider sense and you have all this and you're already incredible, but you're not really trained. You're just kind of leaning on
how to fight.
He trains him how to fight on top of his spider sense. It just makes him like amazing.
Yeah, I mean, so there's precedence in the comics for it. I don't think that's the way they're going to go. I think it's going to be more of a Spider-Man movie, period, but maybe some appearances elsewhere. So I am both thrilled that Spider-Man 4 is getting a director of this caliber. This is great. And clearly Marvel is very high on him. Hell, they wanted to give him an Avengers movie. So clearly they're very high on him. Now, what this means for that other film too, Naruto. Yeah, that's one a lot of people got excited about.
Yeah.
Don't expect that to come anytime soon now, because obviously this is going to take priority. So you know what it's like? It's like I'm a guy in high school, and there's a girl that I just think is the most awesome girl ever.
But then she
And
sees
my
your
best
Transformers
friend
posters.
starts dating her.
Oh.
I'm super happy for him, but I loathe him at the same time. So I'm super happy for Spider-Man 4 getting a director like
Cue
this.
Rick
But I
Springfield.
yeah, Jesse's girl. I'm really, really upset that this is going to, at minimum, mean a delay for Shang-Chi 2. Anyway, Chris, you hear about this news. What do you think about it from both sides? First of all, as a Spider-Man fan, what do you think about this? And then as a Shang-Chi fan, what do you think about this?
As a Spider-Man fan, I'm thrilled for Spider-Man to have such an excellent director. As a Shang-Chi fan, who, you know, this film, the sequel got greenlit 3 months after it came out 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Where's my movie?
Yeah.
Where is it? I want to have that. And to Jonathan's point too, yeah, there is so much precedence for this of a team up potentially happening. I don't think that's what we would do here.
Yeah, me
No.
either.
Like, we had our first bout of that in 1979, and then most recently there was a comic book series in 2021 called Amazing Spider-Man Gangland First Strike or something like that. It's really interesting. It's about turf wars. It's really, really fun. So you could do something like that, but I feel like the whole purpose and what we keep hearing about is that this is a boots on the ground Spidey potentially. We're not doing so much cosmic stuff. We're not doing multiverse. We're doing, you know, your friendly neighborhood, getting his own Spider-Man thing going on without any help from any Avengers or Tony
Right.
Stark or anything. So I don't feel like you'd bring in any mystical elements at this juncture. So I don't feel like that's the route we're going to take. In a perfect world, though, we would have this movie happen and then right around the corner, Shang-Chi. Maybe we'll get a tasty post-credit.
That's what I was wondering. I was like, I could see a post credit.
Yeah.
One thing I don't want to see in Spider-Man 4 is him bumbling anymore. I'm kind of tired of like, whoa, will this work? I don't know. It's like, no, be Spider-Man.
Yeah,
now,
this is your fourth movie.
not Spider-Boy.
You're no
He's
longer in high
just a
school.
boy.
But he's no longer in high school.
Yeah.
Right? He's no longer in high school. He's got a job. He's got his own apartment. But I still want to see. So I agree, but I still also want to see him as the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Yeah. He doesn't
Yeah.
have to be like, you know.
I still want him quippy.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I want him to still be Peter Parker.
Yeah.
Again, like a lot of people point out in the live chat, and true, like Destin and Brie Larson have worked together so many times. Like they are besties, basically. So there's a he even had her pop up in the end credit in Shang-Chi. So there's a possibility you could see that. I don't really see a good movie there, but maybe as a quick cameo. Now, somebody else brought up in the live chat, well, listen, they can still just go ahead and get another director for Shang-Chi too. They could, but I don't think Destin agrees to that. Like, I think he sees Shang-Chi as his, and I have a feeling, I have no proof of this. Nobody told me this. I'm just speculating as a fan, okay? But, I mean, I kind of feel like if he would say, okay, I'll do Spider-Man 4, but don't take Shang-Chi away from me. So, I mean, I don't know. We'll have to see. So, I'm super thrilled for Spider-Man 4. Very disappointed as a Shang-Chi fan. But anyway, we'll see how this all turns out. Guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? I mean, not only his work on this, but Wonder Man. He's got Wonder Man coming out, which they clearly loved his work that he did on that. What do you think about him as directing a Spider-Man movie? I think it's a great fit. It's a great match. Couldn't be happier. What do you think about this probably meaning another delay for Shang-Chi 2? Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that all down, let's get on to the most important part of our show here, shall we? Which is taking your live comments and questions. But before we do, we're going to take another quick second here and thank another sponsor of today's episode, the good folks over at BetterHelp. We want to take a second to thank a sponsor of this video, BetterHelp. Hey guys, it's John here. You know, as kids, we're always learning new things, whether it's how to ride a bike, play an instrument, or even ace that math test. But as adults, it seems like we lose a bit of that natural curiosity. When was the last time you learned something new just for the fun of it? Like new skills, a new language, or maybe just how to finally beat your best friend at that game. You know, therapy can be a fantastic way to reconnect with that sense of wonder. It's like going back to school, but this time time, it's for you. It's about learning new coping skills, setting boundaries, and empowering yourself to become the best version of you. And the best part, it's not just for those who have experienced major trauma. It's for anyone looking to grow and learn more about themselves. If you've ever thought about starting therapy, why not give BetterHelp a try? It's completely online, making it super convenient and flexible to fit into your schedule. All you have to do is fill out a quick questionnaire and you'll be matched with a licensed therapist who fits your needs. Plus, if things aren't clicking, you can always switch therapists anytime at no extra cost. So rediscover your curiosity with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/Campea today and get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Campea. Take the first step to being your best self. And thank you to the good folks at BetterHelp for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast. All right, guys, with that all down, let's get on to your topic, shall we? Jonathan, what do we got up first?
Jaden is first, says, hey, John and crew, my first time writing into you guys.
Oh, thank you, Jaden.
And this was yesterday, but just saw that one of my childhood heroes, James Earl Jones, passed away.
Yeah.
Rest in peace to a legend. He will forever be the coolest thing in Star Wars. His impact on the world has been truly awesome.
Yeah, I mean, look, and he became the voice. He's the voice. You know, conversation will come up, like some of the greatest voices ever in Hollywood. Jeremy Irons has a great voice, who coincidentally also was in Lion King, did the voice of Scar, but he's got a tremendous voice as well. But Jeffrey Wright has a tremendous voice, but it always came down to James Earl Jones. And what's so great about him is that, unlike a lot of other iconic performers that we know, who we always know them for one thing, he had a very diverse career in a lot of great movies that we love, outside of that one key one. Like, even, listen, of course, I love Mark Hamill. I do, but, you know, Mark Hamill was never, you know, he did the voice of Joker, but he was never able to put together the resume that, say, James Earl Jones did. And, you know, Mark Hamill put out, by the way, did you see his post today? Mark Hamill put out, I mean, the way Mark Hamill is such a class guy. But he put out a really nice thing out today about James Earl Jones, basically saying goodbye to Dad, which was, that dude is just so full of class. Anyway, yeah, he will be seriously missed, and I hope and I expect over the coming days, weeks, and months, be very honored. All right, what's next?
Okay, Cantello says, and I was never here. A line he spoke in The Hunt for Red October will never apply to his life and all the memories he left to all of us. Rest in peace, James Earl Jones, and thank you for the memories. Darth Vader's voice, The Sandlot, so many more.
Oh, God, I often go back. I was talking to Ann about this when it came up, because Ann loves, I mean, we all love it, but Ann really loves Sandlot. Actually, she just drove into LA a few weeks ago to go see a presentation of the movie with a bunch of the actors on stage to do a Q&A afterwards too. She loves Sandlot. What was the name of the dog again? Was it Zeus? No.
It was oh God, it starts with a B.
I can't. Oh, why am I freezing on the name of the dog in that?
Someone will bring it up in that.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was
Hercules sounds right. Anyway, I'm sure somebody in the live chat will put it in, but that whole thing when he gets the they're saying Samson?
Hercules.
Oh, no, it was Hercules. Yeah.
Wait, what dog was that?
So when
they called him the Beast, but his name was Hercules.
There you go, the
Beast.
Beast.
Yeah, but that was the nickname. His name was Hercules.
Yeah, that's what I thought it.
that dog was awesome. But it goes in the house and just the way it says, you know, you can have it. Just come back and let's talk baseball. I'm like, I'm getting chills thinking about it. Like, just all these things he's done. Everything's so great. And I love when he shows up in sneakers too. I absolutely love that. All right, what's next?
All right, $20 tip from Juanetta.
Oh, thank you, Renetta.
We'll probably be talking about James a little bit here. So, hey, team, the world has lost a true legend and icon. Rest in peace, James Earl Jones. You are a true pioneer. What a long, wonderful life you lived. 93. Wow. Thank you. Thank you for all the great memories and moments forever in our hearts.
You know, it's one of the things about a performer like James Earl Jones and a Robin Williams and stuff like that. When they pass away, they are immortal in the sense of what they've left behind for us. I will honestly spend the rest of my life being entertained by James Earl Jones, by being inspired by James Earl Jones, by being moved by James Earl Jones, by experiencing emotion with James Earl Jones. And that's one of the great gifts that performers like him leave behind for us, and he is certainly no exception to that.
I forgot he was also the narrator in the 95 Judge Dredd.
Oh my God.
I don't even remember that. Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
All right.
forgot.
Raymond Verada says, today we have lost James Earl Jones, aka Darth Vader, Mufasa, Terrence Mann, Admiral Greer, the voice of CNN. Oh yeah, that's right.
I forgot about that
Yeah,
too.
nice.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And many, many more. My favorite performance of his is the narration of the creation by Will Vinton Animation Studios. Look up on YouTube. Yeah, his voice is just like,
Again, there's just so much stuff. And guys, listen, it's a very old movie, but I know there are some of you who have never watched the original Conan the Barbarian.
I love it. That's one of my favorite
It's
movies.
so good.
And that music is amazing.
If you do not help me, to hell with you.
Yeah.
It's just, it's so good. And what's the name of the composer?
It's
Basil Palladouris.
Yeah.
Oh, the score of it, and
Yep.
just yeah, go.
Oh, that's one thing where I would love to see with a live orchestra.
Oh, Conan the
Yeah.
Barbarian live in concert.
I was about to say, like with Conan and Rambo, I watched the second one first, and then I went back because I realized, oh, there's
There's one before this.
Yeah, there's one.
Oh, so you saw the one
and
with
they
Will
were
Chamberlain.
complete.
Oh, you
it's
saw
like
the
almost feels the same. It almost feels the same
You saw
with
the
both.
Destroyer.
It's so different. Like the first one was so grim. The second one was all fantasy.
It was silly.
With Conan.
Yeah, the Destroyer.
So when I went back to the first one, I was like,
Barbarian.
oh my god, this is one's a little more brutal. This one seems a little
Listen,
more
and
grim.
if there's,
Very
if there's
good.
any movie today that could get everybody's attention that Arnold Schwarzenegger, because look, Arnold's place in the Hall of Fame is secure. He's iconic, legendary. I love Arnold Schwarzenegger, but let's face it, he's not a box office draw anymore. I mean, like at all. But you make King Conan today,
Yeah, because on his furrowed brow.
the crown weighs heavy. I just think that's the one, like no more Terminators, no more twins, no more anything. No, clearly the audience doesn't really care to go back to any of that stuff. But I think if you did a King Conan, it's not an $800 million movie, but that could be a $400 or $500 million
With
movie, I
Arnold?
think.
Or with someone else?
With
and-
Arnold,
because
as-
you want him
as the
aged,
old
and it doesn't
age
have to be a
King
huge budget.
Conan, right?
Have you ever seen Conan the Barbarian?
I have not seen Conan.
Oh,
the
you
Barbarian.
should watch Conan the Barbarian.
You should at least on Spotify. Well, I don't know if it's on Spotify, but you on YouTube, you can find the whole soundtrack. Just listen to
Ooh.
the music.
Okay.
Forget anything else. Just listen to that music. You're gonna be like, oh my god, I want to go play Dungeons and Dragons. Like,
Oh,
it's
hell yeah.
so good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I've seen clips, but I've never seen the whole.
Just
thing.
listen to the whole soundtrack.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
Do
what's
that right
next?
now, Chris.
Right now,
Right now?
while we're,
Okay,
I don't
no
care
worries.
if it demonetizes us. Anonymous says, as a good British kid myself, I'm still salty that Amazon held Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare hostage to go on Prime instead of theaters in the UK. They paid so they can do what they want, which is fair enough. But like we always say, part two, I'm guessing this is Dexter. Oh, forgot to put my name. They could have made a few $1 million and had it perform better on streaming after. And we would have got to see Cavill killing Nazis on the big screen. We haven't had a Guy Ritchie film in theaters here since Gentlemen.
Yeah, I remember when I found out about that. That
Seems weird to me.
listen,
Yeah.
clearly there's a reason.
Yeah.
I can't conceive of what the reason is, but clearly there is a reason because look, on the surface it looks obvious. Like you're putting it out in North America. Why not put it out over there too? Unless they were so convinced it wasn't going to make any money that it wouldn't even be worth the ad campaign that you'd have to mount if you're going to put it in theaters. But again, I'm sure there's a license, legal, some kind of rights issue sort of thing. I'm not sure what it is, but it really sucks that that's the case. All right, what's next?
We got David Alping who says, hey, John and crew, HBO just announced that they have begun the search for Harry, Ron, and Hermione.
Yeah.
They want kids that would be between 9 and 11 in April. 9 seems very young. In April 2025. Does this indicate that they plan to begin production on the new series in the summer of 2025?
Oh, listen, yeah, casting. You're not long from starting to roll cameras once you have your casting done. And you know, I read this really great thing too, that I mean, I think it's a great thing that they're completely open to diversifying the cast. So they're going to have this open casting call, and they're just going to pick the best kids they find. And if we end up with an Asian Hermione, hey, listen, the best kid that came in to play it as an young Asian girl, then Hermione's going to be an Asian girl, and so on and so forth. So it was good to read that. So because one thing that did always strike me about Hogwarts, it was very, very white. Hogwarts was.
You'd have a couple.
You had your odd character. Like, what was the name of the girl that Harry was dating for?
Cho Chang.
So
Yes.
yeah.
You had the odd
I was
one.
so interesting that she had I love the Scottish accent because most people were British at Hogwarts, but she had the Scottish accent.
When you had that great kid too who does the whole thing about the Grim and then we never see him again. She's like, it's like trying to catch smoke in your hands, and then he's gone forever.
Like smoke in your hands.
And that dude right now, he is kicking ass. He's at the Globe Theatre. He is like a big stage actor in London now, which is amazing. But yeah, that kid just like Kaiser Sose out of existence.
I mean, the UK is pretty diverse. I mean, yes, it is predominantly white, but it's pretty diverse.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I mean, I don't mind that Hogwarts is predominantly white. I mean, that's because that's England. But I mean, it was pretty
reflective of the
monotone
Yeah.
in there. But here's the thing: I have grown my belief in this franchise a lot. You know who I was talking to like a week or two ago? Olympic gold medalist Cody Miller. You guys remember Cody Miller? The movie trivia undefeated competitor, by the way, Cody Miller. But I was talking to him the other day. I don't know that there is a bigger Harry Potter fan in the world. Like him and Allie, his wife, they literally had a Harry Potter themed wedding. Their whole house is adorned in Harry Potter stuff. And he's the guy, some of you might remember this. When I got an invitation from IMAX to go to an advanced screening of the most recent Fantastic Beasts movie, Anne was out of town. And I got on social media and I said, hey, for people who actually know me, like to my actual friends, if any of you guys want to go to this screening with me, let me know. And Cody, who lives in Indianapolis, he calls me and he says, dude, I will get on a flight tonight and I will be there in the morning because the screening was the next day. I will get on a plane tonight and I will be there in the morning and I'll go with you and I'll fly home the next day. I'm like, do it. So he flew across the country just so he could go and see this movie. Biggest Harry Potter fan I know. And only guy walking into a Harry Potter screening with multiple Olympic medals around his neck. But I was talking to him the other week and he goes, dude, listen, I was skeptical about this show when they first announced it. But now that we're seeing, remember we did a story about who the new showrunners are going to be on this? I mean, they've gone out and gotten the best of the best to be the showrunners on this thing. This is an HBO production, which is the best of the best when it comes to doing this stuff. I'm starting to really believe in this thing. And maybe I'm being naive, but all the things they have done so far have been the right moves. And so I'm getting kind of excited about this. And listen, they got real lucky when they made the movies in casting those three kids, because they turned out to really grow into those roles and be great for it long term. Hopefully they're going to be able to crush the casting again.
Yeah, Filipino wizard.
Filipino wizard!
Hey, hello. I don't know. Let's go.
Was that your audition?
Is that your audition? Is that your Filipino wizard?
No, I can't do it right now. I'm on the spot, so it'll come out eventually.
That's okay. You got time.
I got time.
All right. What's next?
Anonymous says, John, Top Gun Maverick was number 2 in the box office in its 7th weekend. Yeah,
if only I had mentioned that myself yesterday.
Yeah, we cleared that up. And it made $25 million. It's more than 3 times D and W's total this past weekend. But can I just say, man, Deadpool and Wolverine is killing it. And I'm just going down the box office and I'm like, there's rarely a day it's not making $1 million.
What's the box office total now of Deadpool?
1,287. So I think it's going to hit 1.3.
It could get 1.3 billion.
Well, look, I mean, on its low point, it's making 800,000, 700,000 a day.
A day. Yeah, there are people still rushing out, going out to see it. Anna and I still want to watch it at least one more time.
Oh, it's so fun.
Oh, it's such a fun movie.
It's great.
All right, what's next?
Okay. We got Murray Reich with a 2-parter. There have been times when a celebrity passes away. It's a loss, but I move on. But then there are legends that impact the movies. When I heard James Earl Jones had passed, I was so devastated because of him. When I think of Star Wars, I right away think of Vader and that iconic voice. Whenever you see him on screen, he's so menacing. Like, you don't want to F with it. He's also Mufasa, but to me, he's my Vader. Rest in peace, my friend. You will be sorely missed.
But therein lies a bit of the magic of James Earl Jones, in that you're right. Whether he's Thulsa Doom or he's like the voice of Mufasa or Vader, he's got this incredible power, menacing. But then you watch him in The Sandlot, and he's the guy every kid in the neighborhood would want to sit down and talk once they got to know him. Every kid in the neighborhood would want to sit down and talk to, and or Field of Dreams, or stuff like that. He had that ability to be both. And it's a very special thing when an actor can do one really great, and he can do both. And gonna miss him for that. All right, what's next?
Okay, hold on to your seats, because James Wheeler tipped $200.
What?
James
Wheeler.
In a inverse birthday situation. Good
Well,
morning.
wait, before anything, James, thank you so much for supporting us on that level, man. That's, it's always amazing to me when, because these YouTube shows are free, we put them out and stuff like that. But when we actually have people who've watched James Wheeler's been a viewer of ours for a long time. But like when we have viewers that don't just want to watch the show, they actually want to support the show too. And I mean, that's a whole different level there, James. Thank you so much for supporting us on that level. We really appreciate it, man. All right, what does James have to say?
Well, it goes on to say, good morning, everyone. Today is my birthday.
Oh,
Happy birthday.
Birthdays usually work the other way, but just wanted to thank you for your show, helping me to get through the day for the last 9 years.
I believe this should start a new trend. On everybody's birthday, they should send me money. I think that should be true for everybody.
I basically did, since someone gave me a $50 super chat.
So wait a minute,
you're
you'd be like a
welcome.
trillionaire if that was
That's
the case.
right.
If everyone in the world gave you money on their birthday.
That would be a wonderful, wonderful way for us to
Money
conduct
would be
things.
yeah.
But anyway, yeah, James, like I said, you've been clearly we recognize and we know your name. You've been a viewer of ours for a long time. So thank you so much for being a part of our community. Thank you for allowing us to be a part of your day every day. And thank you so much for supporting the stuff we do here, man. We really appreciate it. And happy birthday to you, my friend.
Birthday.
Have a glorious year. All right, what's next?
For your birthday, Ray's going to become a Filipino wizard. Oh, I guess not. Well, sorry, next year. Aaron Moen says, hi, John and crew. Wanted to wait a bit before asking again, but has yourself and Ann started watching Interview with the Vampire? Recently, apparently Chris has.
Yeah.
Recently got my sister to start watching, so I got to check my recruitment progress. Well,
So you have, Chris.
Yes.
What are you thinking so far?
I love it. I love it so much. I haven't gotten to watch season 2 because I am not paying to watch AMC, but I watched it when it dropped on Netflix, and it is so good. It is so well done. It's so fun. There are some ridiculous kills on it. It's great. It's such a great adaptation.
Is Blade in it?
No.
I'll take him in any
he
form
is,
now.
actually.
Is
Sorry.
Blade in it?
And,
Is it? Would you say it's an adult show?
Yes.
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. This is another one. Don't watch this with your kids. Yeah. We're going to be like, wow, well, we get to explain some
No,
things
but
today.
both Ann and I are very excited to start watching it. Again, it's so funny when it came out, never heard anybody talk about it. But in the last few months, everybody's talking about it. It's not quite as extreme, but it's almost like a little bit like a Suits situation.
Kind of, yeah.
Now, granted, it was 7 years after Suits went off air that it became the most popular show in the world. That's not quite the situation here, but everybody's talking about it now. So yes, I do want to see it. Now that we've got the ringing endorsement for Chris Carr, I'm definitely gonna have to watch it. All right.
I like it.
What's next?
Excuse me. We got Sam Fisher, who says The Apprentice trailer looks like Wolf of Wall Street, and I'm here for it. I haven't seen the trailer.
I did see the trailer. It looks interesting. I'll check it out. I don't know if I'll talk about it on the show, at least until, because obviously it's about Donald Trump, and so there's no win in having a conversation about it. So it's probably something I'll have a conversation about after the presidential election's done. But I did think the trailer looked interesting though, so I'll definitely be checking it out. All right, what's next?
iCritic says, hi, John. While I personally like BJ, I have friends who will not see it, not because they are interested, but because 2 days before it came out, WB announced a digital and Blu-ray release in October. That's awful. Why would WB be this stupid? Do they hate money?
I have no idea what we're talking about.
Well,
Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice.
Oh,
or
Beetlejuice,
2BJs.
Beetlejuice. They announced a release in October?
I don't know. I'd have to see. I haven't seen anything about that. If so, that's really terrible.
They announced the digital release before the movie came out? Is that
2 days before it came out, but that's kind of weird. But I guess we could look that up.
I mean,
Yeah, Ray's going to fact check
Thank
it.
you.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, that is idiotic. Like announcing the digital release before the movie even comes out, and basically,
And then it had, yeah.
especially with such a short window.
And then it had such a large opening.
All I can say is I never heard such a report. But if that is true, then yes, there are going to be people. Definitely, you're basically telling people, oh, don't bother coming to the movies. There are going to be people that are now going to go, oh, well, I was thinking about going to go see this movie, but now I won't. I'll wait.
oh, it was like
Yeah, what does that say?
What do you got there, Ray?
It says
Scroll down there.
oh crap.
Never mind. Anyway,
Yeah,
let's.
When I get
If
it,
they
I'll
did
get
that, and I never heard it myself, but if they did that, it's a pretty stupid move. All right, what's next?
King Peach says, hi, John. Talking about heist films, you got to go watch 1955 Refifi. Yeah, Refifi. The 30-minute heist scene with no music or dialogue is considered the best heist scene ever. Also, it's the only film that gives its name to a new way of breaking in style inspired from it.
I'll be honest with you, I've never even heard of it.
I've heard the name.
There's not many movies people bring up that I'll go, I've never even heard of that one, except for new Netflix films. This
I'll
is
add
one I've
another
not even
one,
heard of.
but I got to see the date.
Especially since I'm such a sucker for these heist movies. If this is like some really big iconic thing, I would love to see it.
Yeah, I'll throw in 1950. 1950. Come on, ad. God, 1956 is The Killing. That was a really good. It's a Stanley Kubrick movie, and black and white, obviously 1956. But that's a great heist movie. It inspired a lot of heist movies that came after it too.
Oh.
Early Stanley Kubrick.
All right, what's next?
Can we go back to that? It's just.
Oh, yeah, what does it
there's
say?
pre-orders for the VOD that went up yesterday.
But do they have
But
a
there's
date?
no date on this.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
But there's no date. Okay, well that's
So pre-orders are
I'm not-
available.
yeah, because I've
That makes
seen
sense,
pre-orders for movies that didn't come out later until like 6
Yeah.
months later.
Yeah.
So, all right, well we'll see how that all evolves.
All right.
All right, what's next?
King of Sweden. Welcome, sire.
My liege.
Hey, John, I'm a huge Indiana Jones fan. Aside from the last movie bombing, historically, India has been super successful. They've had the new game, a new Disney World ride. But what do you think Lucasfilm will do with the Indy franchise moving forward?
Rebooting it. I think that's the only option. Like, look, there are a few options available, right? One option is to just stop. No more Indiana Jones. That would be moronic. It's an incredibly treasured IP. You have to do more with Indiana Jones. You don't have to do more with Indiana Jones in the next year, but you have to do more with Indiana Jones. Option number 2 is you create a successor, whether that was going to be Shia LaBeouf's character or Fleabag's character or whatever.
Both were so well received.
Both were so well received.
Everyone universally loved them and had no problems.
But even then, that would have been a mistake. Nobody wants to see Indiana Jones with Eddie. They want to see Indiana Jones. So, and you can't make any more with Harrison Ford. So there's only one option left, which is to either reboot it or just make more stories back in a different era, back in the 40s and whatever, with a new actor playing him. And to anybody who says only Harrison Ford can play him, no, that's stupid. Other actors can play it. It's been proven 100 times that even with iconic roles, somebody else can come in and now play it. It's been proved many times.
To be fair, Harrison Ford is the one who said it too.
Well, yes, yeah, Harrison, yes.
I think that he put a curse on it.
But Harrison Ford.
Anyone who plays this role is gonna have a horrible time.
Well,
Harrison Ford is also the guy when they were interviewing him about Captain America 4, he says, I had a wonderful time doing it. I have no idea what we were doing, though. People are saying, like, I was standing in front of a green screen and said, all right, now imagine this. And I said, what the fuck are you talking about?
All
All
respect to Harrison Ford. But
I love Harrison Ford.
There are moments where he just feels like my great uncle who posts on Facebook and is like, I don't know what this means, but good for you, kid. Like that's all of his energy these days.
I'll tell you what, I have never been, ever been intimidated about doing an interview than when I was about to do my first interview with Harrison Ford.
Oh, well, of course.
That was like, because it's a cross between I'm intimidated by him and I'm starstruck. It's freaking Han Solo, right? So I remember the first time I interviewed him, I was like super, super tense. The second time I interviewed him was a little bit more relaxed, but again, a little bit nerve wracking because I worship this guy, Harrison Ford. But both times he just came across as like very pro, very serious. But
I mean, he's older now, but after Crystal Skull, I always thought like a good casting would have been Aaron Eckhart as a Indiana Jones.
Oh yeah, it's a little too late now.
Yeah.
Aaron Eckhart would have been a good one.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't do it now, but 4 or 5 years ago, there was some talk of Chris Pratt being a new Indiana Jones. I don't think that works now, but at the time, about 5 years ago, I thought that's one that could have worked. Now I think you probably want to go, I hate to say it, but Glenn Powell would be a great younger Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's got that swashbuckling adventure, like scoundrel's grin.
If he can
kinda
pull off
good.
being like a professor, because he is a professor first.
Well, in that Netflix movie, he's a professor in that, and
There you go.
he's such a nerd.
Oh yeah, what was that one called again?
I'm trying to remember it.
Replays the fake hitman.
I think it's called Hitman.
Is it called Hitman? There it is. That's like when Ann said to me, "What's that movie with Aaron Brockovich?" Aaron Brockovich. I just did that. What's that movie where he plays the hitman?
It's a fun one.
Hitman. All right, what's next?
Okay, Anonymous says with some dialogue here, John, F Disneyland, me. Go on, Johnny.
I'm not a big fan of Disneyland.
I'll tell you what, I love Disneyland, and then like you, I don't want to see it burn. What I want them to do is just right their wrongs, lower their costs, make it more accessible to families and people. And
They have
God.
no
Some free
intention of
passes.
doing
no,
that.
I know, I understand.
Of course they don't.
That's what I want them to do. But
Oh yeah, I was a pass holder, and then there's no way I'm ever going to have.
I don't like the
one of those
reservation
magic
system.
keys.
And
No.
I used to be able to just go on a random Sunday night with my other friends that had pass holders, were pass holders.
Yeah.
And we just go and you just get online and rides. I mean, I don't know why it's like this weird like puzzle
It's
to make
weird.
things
Yeah.
work there now.
I don't like it.
Okay, here's the thing that I don't mind. I don't mind the stupid prices to get in. You know what? If I want to go to a Lakers game, I know it's going to cost me a bunch. If I want to go on a trip to somewhere, I know it's like the getting in price. Don't get me wrong. I don't like it, but the getting into the park price isn't the part that really bothers me about. It's not the part that makes me angry. What the part that really bothers me about the Disneyland parks is after paying a ridiculous fee to get in, the way the mouse comes out,
Just has their hand in your pocket.
bends you over,
Oh,
dips his white gloved hand in a vat of Vaseline, and shoves it right up your ass to take every single penny from you that they can while you're in the park.
So I never
It's
bring
how
cash.
they bleed you as much as they can. Like all these other services they used to have, they were free. You know, you used to fly into Anaheim to go to Disneyland. They used to have shuttles that pick you up. If you're coming to Disneyland, pick you up and bring you to the park for free. No. Don't do that anymore. They used to have a fast pass sort of thing that, hey.
It was free.
What was it called? Was it called Fast
No, it was
Pass?
Fast Pass.
Fast Pass.
It was called
Yeah, it was
Fast Pass.
free.
Like, hey, you can't get in the line right now, but you want to reserve a spot, you can come back a little bit later.
They give you a window.
That
You
used
can
to
come
be
back.
free. Now it's like, oh no, fuck you. Pay $25 for the special genie thing. Ooh, and I'm going to fuck you up the ass and take every single dollar from you that I can. That's what Robin Williams actually said in the original one. A lot
Also,
of
there was
people
a
don't know that.
period in the mid the aughts going into the teens where their food quality was going up, and now it's down and they're charging you more.
Yeah.
And if you look at the trajectory, like the chart of the price of entry, even from year 2000 through like 2008, 2009, whatever to today, I mean, it's a steep increase. It's not an even curve.
Oh no, it's just and look, and I'm just at the tip of the iceberg. Like the way they violate you financially, not like once you're in the park, it is an entire system designed to bleed you of every penny that you can for any slight convenience they may offer. I just find, look, because the number one job of my life is to be a good husband to my wife. That's my main job in life. I don't care about anything else in my life. I have no other goals that are nearly as important to me as being a good husband to my wife, at least as good as I can. So I, once every 4 or 5 months, will go to Disneyland with my wife because I know it makes her happy. But every time I'm there, it's just, oh, you want to get into this restaurant? Too bad. Oh, you got to settle eating here? Here's fucking cardboard. $25, please. Like, oh, you want to get in that line, reserve it? Buy a $10 this. You want to, like, and I just end up walking around angry. Like, it's supposed to be the happiest place on earth.
Well,
and when I walk around Disneyland now, I just feel angry all the time.
And the fact that you have to make a reservation for the park, then a reservation for rides, some of them.
Yeah.
That's just like,
And listen, there are stuff like, I still love the Millennium Falcon ride. I love the Indiana Jones ride. I love that ride. I really, really do. It's just that there's so many things that make me angry about that place.
I used to walk in with a flask in my back pocket, and there was no like metal. You just walked in. You had a fun time with your friends.
Now they have cameras that can catch you in the parking garage.
Yeah, well, now just don't go.
As long as you bring home the picture of Mickey sticking his hand in your ass. Like
we could sell that
at the end of the ride.
Just bend over, right?
All right, what's next?
Jay Pinnock says, March 14th, 2019, you and Rob discussed Destin Daniel Cretton getting the gig for Shang-Chi. You both mentioned the importance of indie directors and people of color representation, but never put your universe before your characters. Rob, so how's this apply to Spidey 4 today? But I don't know how would it. What do you mean?
What does it?
How does it apply to it? It applies the same way.
Yeah, just getting a good director to direct the movie says nothing about the characters or the universe. I don't understand the question or the point. All right, what's next?
Skipper Bob, Sunday's New York Times expose about the Iger Chapek drama is amazing. Extremely in-depth and perfectly shows the good and bad in both Bobs. As misguided and ill-suited Chapek was, Iger's reported role in his downfall throughout his reign was crafty as hell. I haven't read that.
Wild article. I need to read it multiple times because I was just like, wait, what? Wait, huh? Because also that Amy Newman has some crazy theories about the Bobs, and that New York Times article gave it a lot of credence.
I mean, look, what was very clear from like what we found out even before Chapek was kicked out was how quickly lines got drawn, like, and how fast their relationship broke down. And it's, yeah, listen, I still believe that entire era of Disney is going to be the subject of entertainment classes that get taken for decades to come. I really do. All right, what's next?
We got Mr. I says, rest in peace, the great James Earl Jones. Wasn't he one of the biggest stars to sign a contract for his voice to be used in perpetuity with Disney? If so, gonna get member berries every time we hear Vader in future projects.
I think it was a key thing both for James Earl Jones and for, obviously, Disney always wants Vader to sound like Vader. Right? Lucasfilm will always want Vader to sound like Vader. And I think for James Earl Jones, when he made that deal, he always wanted to be known as Vader. I mean, he wanted to be known for more than that, but he always wanted to be known. When there's Vader there, he wanted people to think of him. His estate, his heirs would want that as well. And so it was a really good deal for both of them at the time. All right, what's next?
We got Remy, who says, rest in peace, James Earl Jones. Obviously, Vader and Mufasa are legendary, but what lesser-known roles come to mind? For me, his role in Soul Man elevates a problematic movie that would never be made today.
Best of the best. The coach and best. First of all, you can't look at James Earl Jones and think, you know what he looks like? A Taekwondo coach. That's what James Earl Jones looks like. It's just, nope.
Took a chance.
But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He pulled it off so great. I bought it. I believed it. I love that so much. So that's one for me. Chris, if you had to pick like a smaller one, they say like this is a smaller or less celebrated one that really stands out to you, what would you say it is?
Oof. I honestly don't know because I feel like all the ones that I love him for are ones that are celebrated, like Coming to America.
To be fair, even though Sandlot's huge, he has a small role. It's an
I mean,
important
yeah.
role, but it's a small role.
Yeah.
Like some of his great ones, like Sandlot. I was talking about Sneakers a little bit earlier. You know, some of those are just like he pops in sort of things,
And
which
his
is always
first
great.
movie was Doctor Strangelove, right?
Yeah.
That's right. He played a. Didn't he play Did he play a pilot in that? I'm trying to.
I'm not
I think so.
sure.
Yeah. Anyway.
Interesting.
All right. What's next?
We got Rem. Did I just do that? I think I did Remy, right? Okay. Ryan says, rest in peace, John Campea, 252, who worked on Marvel's Astonishing X-Men with Joss Whedon, Wildstorm's Planetary with Warren Ellis, Captain America, and Star Wars. Great artist, gone too soon.
I didn't even hear about that.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even hear about that. Anyway, I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you, man.
His art's stunning.
We got Mr. Eyes back. Sad to think of it, but with James Earl Jones passing, there's only 2 original cast members left from the original Star Wars. Harrison Ford at 82 and Mark Hamill at 72. Can't believe Mark Hamill's 72.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's 72 now. Is that true? Are they the only 2 left? Well, I mean, Ewan McGregor's uncle, Lawson.
Oh yeah, who plays
Wedge.
Wedge.
Now, Grant, he wasn't one of the primary
Sure.
guys, but Wedge is still there. I was gonna say, but
Is Anthony
no.
Daniels still alive?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. He's still around. I was gonna say Lando, but he didn't come until Empire, so that doesn't count. Yeah, I mean, we're losing them, which really sucks. All right, what's next?
Dr. Stinky says, only murders in the building, Fight Night, Transformers 1, and the Emmys all in 1 week. What a great week for entertainment art. What do you guys have planned for the Emmys and Transformers 1? Also, my apologies for bot writing in for a bit. Love y'all.
Probably meant not.
No,
writing
not
in for a
right.
bit.
Yeah. But you had a bot writing in?
Wow.
Okay, so gonna go see Transformers 1 on Saturday. Very excited about that. For those of you who don't know, there are fan screenings being held nationwide on Saturday. So if you're interested in seeing Transformers 1, you want to see it a little bit early, go see it. We already got our tickets. Cannot wait to watch it. I'm hearing nothing but good things coming out about it. I don't know that I'm going to watch. Okay, if I do watch the Emmys, it's only because Eugene Levy and his son are hosting.
Yeah.
Because they're awesome. By the way, have you watched Eugene? I can't remember if it's on Apple. Eugene Levy has a
his
show
travel show.
Yeah,
called the
No, it's on
Reluctant
Apple.
Traveler.
Yeah.
It's on Apple, The Reluctant Traveler. If you don't already love Eugene Levy, and you should, go watch The Reluctant Traveler. It's fabulous. And you cannot help but love Eugene Levy even more. It's just another travel show.
Yeah.
But it's taken from the perspective of a guy who does not like to travel. And it's hilarious and it's great and it's wonderful. You gotta go check it out. But here's the thing. It's gonna win all the awards. Shogun is gonna win all the awards. You weren't here yesterday, Chris, but we talked a little bit about how they just did the first weekend of the Emmys. And on just the first weekend of the Emmys, Shogun has broken the record for most wins by a show in a single year.
Yeah.
14 already, and they still have the second weekend to go. And it's going to win Best Show. It's going to win Best Writer. It's going to win Best Lead Actor. It's going to win Best Lead Actress. It's probably going to win Best Supporting Actor. It's probably going to win Best Writing. I mean, it's going to be a Shogun night.
Oh, absolutely it is.
So do you plan on watching? Because I just already know how it's all going to go.
I'll still watch for them hosting.
Yeah, that's would be the only reason I would
think
watch.
that'll be fun. And I like all of the carpet stuff too. I like all the fashion. But if you want a fun little Emmy song, if you aren't following Gabe Gibbs on Instagram, great follow. He wrote this song where he's like, oh my gosh, they sent me the opening number to the Emmys. And it's just all about how Shogun and the Bear are the only things that are going to win. And if you're not part of those, don't get out of your seat. It's fabulous.
More wins for Shogun. Very happy about that. All right, what's next?
Calvarine says WWE went beyond expectations with their tribute to Johnny Gondreau during Monday Night Raw in Calgary yesterday. Sami Zayn wore his Flames jersey too. Heartbreaking to hear his wife reveal at the memorial service that she's 9 weeks pregnant.
That's heartbreaking. Like, I'm not going to go off on the huge thing again. I have a particular thing about people who drive drunk, but this poor, this, first of all, the sister, the day before her wedding, her two brothers die.
Oh, jeez.
And it's such a heartbreaking story.
Yeah.
It's just such a heartbreaking story. If you guys don't know what the story is, I encourage you to go and look it up.
Now,
It's totally heartbreaking.
They were hockey players, right?
Well, the one brother was. Yeah.
Okay.
He was
But
an all-star.
Yeah.
He was a great hockey player with a great future in front of him.
And that happened
They were
recently.
literally, him and his brother were out on a bike ride the night before their sister's wedding,
Yeah.
Oh my.
and they
But
got run down.
Was one, and then one of them was a wrestler, or
No,
no.
Same
or did
thing.
they just because it was Calgary and all that, and they
Yeah,
just wanted
yeah.
to?
He's just
I see.
showing his support.
Anyway, all right, what's next?
Ryan, the movie guy, says, "Hey crew, one of the best cinema experiences I've had was seeing Dune Part 2 in IMAX. What has been some of your favorite cinema experience throughout your life, and what has been some of your worst?"
Well, I mean, that's a half-hour discussion, so I'll just say this. A couple of my favorite movie-going experiences. One, obviously, was going to the world premiere of a Star Wars movie I went to the world premiere of The Force Awakens at the Man's Chinese Theater, where the original Star Wars movie also had its premiere. And that was just like being in that place, in that theater, debuting a new Star Wars movie where they debuted the original Star Wars movie. Like that was a magical night. That was absolutely incredible. Watching my first screening of the first Avengers movie was remarkable. There are others, but again, that could be a very, very long conversation. But those are two that just come off the top of my head. All right, what's next?
Stubble says, "I love that James Earl Jones had a Darth Vader line in Coming to America. I will deal with it myself. It was an intentional inclusion."
I will deal with it myself. I didn't even think about that.
He
I don't
said it
remember
different.
that.
He had a different voice inflection, but it was definitely there in the line.
Yeah, definitely there. All right, what's next?
All right. Self-Defense says, "I recently watched Zack's Justice League cut. Wow. 4 hours of epicness. Marvel and DC tones were like two different flavors of ice cream. Two delicious scoops. Let's hope Gunn gets it right, as I do love different flavors of cream."
Here's, I have a really good friend who's in the filmmaking business. I won't mention his name, but he brought up it's like whenever I watched those extended cuts, whether it was the extended cut of Batman versus Superman: Dawn of Justice, or whether it was Justice League 1, my friend pointed out the thing that Zack Snyder doesn't get in these extended cuts is that when you do these cuts, most of the time there are things you should take out, as well as things to go along with the new things you're adding in. And with a lot of the Zack Snyder, and by the way, I for one think the extended cut of Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice was an improvement, and I think that the HBO version of Justice League was an improvement.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're both improvements. I do. But what would have made them even better is if the philosophical approach to them wasn't just, let's just take all the stuff we've cut out and back up the dump truck and just pour them into the existing one that there is. And I think that was a mistake. And I never knew how to really articulate that till my buddy said, yeah, here's the mistake that they made in those movies, is that he never took anything out to make the new stuff he's adding in flow better and stuff like that. So what you ended up with was a lot of the problems of the original are still there and only kind of sometimes feels awkward. And again, I don't think Zack Snyder's 4-hour cut of I think it was an improvement over the theatrical release, but it was not 4 hours of epicness. There was stuff in there that never should have been put back in there. I mean, I always just joke about it, but kind of my poster child for that is, again, the Aquaman scene when he's up in the village, the fishing village, and they have that ridiculous, stupid singing girl, with his like hugging his sweater and rubbing it against her butt and whatever it is she was doing with it. Like that was just stupid. And there were a couple of things in there. It was an improvement. But the mistake he made that could have made them even better was understanding what stuff shouldn't be in there. It was just all put everything in And you shouldn't necessarily put everything in. And I think that held back both of his extended cuts from not just being improvements, but being like ridiculously different. Anyway, that's just the way I saw it. All right, what's next?
Bry Guy says, John and Chris, one, what's your favorite Tara Strong voiceover role? Two's favorite James Earl Jones role in an otherwise bad movie. That's kind of hard. Animated film.
So
like
we take
Lion
one
King.
question at a time.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So anyway, Chris, your favorite Tara Strong voiceover?
Ooh, I like her as Timmy Turner.
I couldn't even tell you any of her voiceover roles.
Oh man, she did so many. She did a bunch on Teen Titans. She was Raven. She was Dill Pickles. She is, I believe, several voices on My Little Pony. She is the go-to voiceover gal. She's incredible.
Real? I didn't.
And stunningly beautiful.
Well, I mean, yes, but I never knew she had, like, she was that.
Oh, she has a bananas range.
Oh,
it's wild. Yeah.
Very cool. All right. Oh, and Miss Minutes.
Yes, and she's Miss Minutes.
That's
yeah.
right.
There you go.
All right,
She
what's
just sounds
next?
like me when I've had drinks. Well, hey y'all. We're gonna talk to you about time.
Still haunted by her just like loving that execution scene. It's like, oh my God.
My brother-in-law got us a Miss Minutes
Where she's
timer,
just like-
and I cannot tell you how chilling it is to have it in my home staring at me, where I'm just like, oh, you're not right. You're not okay.
Remember we in the old studio we had the big Miss Minutes clock on the wall. They sent me, for some reason they'd sent me this big Miss Minutes clock.
It makes me feel real bad in my tum-tum. I don't like it.
All right, what's next?
Nick Schmidt says, hey John, Czech Hollywood reporter Josh Brolin has passed on the role of Hal Jordan in the DCU. Who would you like to see next?
I don't even know if he was actually offered the role.
It
That's
was
the thing.
It
rumored.
was a rumor.
Look,
Yeah.
I look, X actor, next role. I don't give a shit because I haven't read the script. I don't know what kind of Hal Jordan they've got. I can't give a definitive, like, there's 1,000 actors who I like that if I heard they were cast in it, I'd be like, cool. But unless James Gunn, who I know checks out our show every once in a while, but unless James Gunn sends me the script and I can read what Hal Jordan is supposed to be like in this particular story, I can't possibly suggest who I think could play the role because I don't know what they're going for.
Oh, breaking news, John.
What's that?
I passed on the role too.
Ray, you would have been
Wow.
so good as Hal.
You could have been Hal,
Yeah.
but a Filipino wizard Hal.
Oh yeah.
That would have
Yeah.
been so perfect. All right, what's
I
next?
would have had the brown ring
Oh my
around
Ray,
my butt.
phrasing.
around my butt.
Zelda Master says, look at the stars.
Go ahead and try it. Everyone
The
has
great
brown
kings
ring.
of the
Okay.
past look down on us from those stars. So whenever you feel alone, just remember those kings will always be there to guide you, and
God,
so
you're
will
in
I.
lower register, Jonathan.
I was just trying to get beyond
Yeah, the brown lantern.
everything. And then
Thank
he
you
brings
very much.
and then he
Sorry.
brings me right back.
Sorry,
Then he brings me right back.
Dang.
Yeah.
the stinkiest ring out there.
No, stop.
That's not a beam. That's a something.
That was a nice James Earl Jones quote.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
you
The
know.
previous writer, I apologize. I just
You know what that line always reminds me of, though?
passed on the
It
roll.
reminds me of Monty Python's Holy Grail, when he's like, "Look, son, all that you see here one day will be yours." And he's like, "What? The curtains?" No, not the curtains, boy. The kingdom.
Oh my God. All right.
You have good voice stuff when you're actually really doing it.
When I'm feeling it.
Yeah, you do good imitations.
All right, what's next?
Enjoy them.
Joe of our members says, "Rest in peace to the GOAT, James Earl Jones, the voice of my childhood would truly be missed."
Absolutely will.
And then CJ Rebirth kind of echoes that. Rest in peace, James Earl Jones, the Sandlot Lion King voicing Darth Vader, coming to America. We'll never forget him. So, there we go.
Indeed. All right. what's
King
next?
Daddy Goat says, "Hey, John and crew. Oh, he has COVID since Thursday.
Oh,
Sorry, man. First time ever having it. Although I was sick, I got to check out Netflix's new Rebel Ridge over the weekend. To my surprise, I really liked it. Solid story with solid action. I was shocked by the Netflix original. Doesn't happen often. Always have you? Anyways, have any of you seen it? Thanks for the many smiles you put on my face while being sick. Much love."
I don't think I've ever even heard
Rebel
of it.
Ridge
I
again.
saw
Once
a
again,
preview for it, but it didn't look
a
great.
Netflix thing I never
Yeah.
heard of.
But if
Yeah.
you think it's good and it's action packed, I'll give it a go.
Yeah, I might check it out.
All
right,
Rob
what's
Buck
next?
says, "Hey,
And
crew."
get well soon, man. I
Yeah,
know
yeah.
that cannot be a fun ride.
No.
All right, what's next?
Sorry, I just
Rob Buck.
refreshed for
My
some
buddy.
stupid reason, and I lost. I'll find Rob Buck again. But
Okay.
Charles says, from Montreal, Canada, wanted to say sorry for yesterday. Had no idea about the time-consuming affecting your personal life. Thanks for all the hard work you do, and the crew too. Okay, yeah, and Ray too.
and Ray
Habs
too,
rule,
okay.
and a new season is about to start.
Habs suck. So you gotta understand, like, for my American friends, like, you think great sports rivalries, like Yankees and Red Sox. Okay, that's all right. There's some passion there. Bunch of rivalries in the NFL. Yeah, those are fine. You don't understand at a cultural level a sports rivalry until you understand. At least it's not so much today, but all my years growing up, the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Montreal Canadiens, the Habs, as they're also known as, the Buds and the Habs. The Buds are the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Habs, the Montreal Canadiens. Like, you just don't get it. And I had a divided household because my little idiot brother grew up as inexplicably a Habs fan. And I don't know how we were raised by the same I don't know how we have the same genetics. I don't know how we were raised by the same family. But for some reason, that little goof grew up as a Montreal Canadiens fan. As the Iron Sheik would say, that's, yeah, no.
That's the Haktua girl would say.
Yeah.
And like always, whenever I'd have to walk by his stupid bedroom, like see some stupid Patrick Waugh, who is one of the greatest goalies of all time, granted, but had to watch that stupid Patrick Waugh poster up on his wall. Habs suck. Anyway,
I'm sleeping. Why do you have to do that at 3 a.m. in the morning?
All right, let's take two more.
Amin says, I still don't understand why they didn't write, record, and animate the two Spider-Verse films at the same time. The wait between the first and the second was fine because the first film actually had a proper ending, but the sequel is clearly part one of a two-part story, and we won't get it until another year or two.
I think, first of all, doing an animated film is a little bit different than doing a live action film. There are a lot of, what's the right word I'm looking for? Efficiencies that you can have in doing live action back to back, right? Because you have sets, you have actors there, you have whatever working on it. And like, instead of shooting one movie with an actor over, 6 weeks, you can shoot, or 8 weeks, you can shoot it with them in 16 weeks, or maybe even a little bit less. The sets are built, all that kind of stuff. There are a lot of efficiencies that will reduce costs, reduce time, all that kind of stuff. An animated film is a little bit different. Dare I say, it's a lot different. And to tie up entire houses and entire studios and entire crews and stuff like that, there's not nearly as many efficiencies in doing that. And I'm going to look, ultimately, could they have still just done them all back to back? I guess there could have been, but it would have been a logistical nightmare. Is my guess at it. If I were to probably talk to an executive at Sony, they'd probably just tell you that. It's like, it just wasn't possible to do them back to back. Plus, you want to get the second film out and kind of gauge what the success of it was. Did we make mistakes? How did the audience respond to it? All that kind of stuff. And again, it's just a little bit different when you're talking about an animated project than you are with a live action one. All right. Last question of the day. What's next?
Joe Hallen says, hey, John and crew, hope your day is going awesome. What a wonderful opening weekend to the NFL. My team looked great. A good outing for Mike McDonald, the new coach of the Seahawks. What did you think?
Listen, I got to tell you, it was a fantastic week one for the NFL. Very first game went right down to the wire. Then the very next game, the next night, it was because the Hawks game, not the Hawks, the Ravens, they should have won that game. They would have won that game, except in the very last second, the very last play of the game, he caught a touchdown, but then they went to review and they saw that his toe was like this much on the white line. And they say, call's overturned, no touchdown, game over. And it was like, and then the next night came down to the last game. And then Sunday's games were incredible. And then I got to watch the 49ers beat up the
Habs.
no. Who did the 49ers play? Sorry, who did the 49ers play yesterday? Why am I freezing on it?
Boys, I don't know.
The Jets, that's right. Love watching Aaron Rodgers lose.
There you go, Chris. You got it.
I did.
Love watching Aaron Rodgers lose.
Oh,
Kevin Arnold's favorite team. The Jets.
So like that was not a competitive game, but it was real fun if you enjoy watching the 49ers play. Unfortunately, Christian McCaffrey didn't play. But yeah, listen, it was a great week one. I'm excited football's back, but I can't remember the last time, like for almost from top to bottom, a week one was as that fun and as that entertaining. And it was a great week one. And hopefully that's a little bit of a sign of things to come for the rest of the year. And guys, that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much for being here, making our little show part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in those questions. Number one, because it gave us great fun things to talk about, especially your birthday with a $200 tip. Thank you so much. But number two, you gave us but you supported our channel as you did it, and all of us involved with the show. Thank you guys so very much for your support. I want to thank the guys in the room with me, Ray Ora,
See you tomorrow.
Jonathan Voico,
See ya.
Chris Carr.
Bye, y'all.
My name's John Campea, and until next time, my friends, bye-bye.